Let me tell you, it was not any regular dog birth. It was a roller coaster, for sure. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So as you can see from the title, this is basically going to be a video about me telling you what went down when my dog gave birth to her puppies, when my golden retriever gave birth to her puppies, because let me tell you, it was not any regular dog birth. And if you're somebody whose dog is going to give birth and it's the first time, this video can help you out, because this is definitely an experience that I can take with me forever. It was definitely a learning experience, and it was a roller coaster for sure. So okay, so to start off, we actually ended up being off on knowing when she was actually going to give birth. We were a few days off, so I spent, at least I know that I spent like 4 days like just in anxiety and stress and like wondering when is she going to give birth, because I just assumed from the way I counted back time between 63 days of dog pregnancy that she was going to have birth on a specific day, and that didn't end up happening. And so after being anxious for a few days, my boyfriend and I looked up how to know exactly when she's going to give birth, or like the signs of when they're going to go into labor. And we found out that if you take their temperature through their butt, and you see that it goes under 100 degrees, that she's going to give birth between a period of 24 hours. So we finally decided to be smart, and we took her temperature, and we found out the day that she was going to give birth, or so we thought. So we took her temperature, and I think it was a Friday, last Friday, that her temperature dropped under 100. And we're like, oh snap, she's going to give birth today. Like, we were like so ready. We were on top of her. We were all over her. We were like, you know, we need to push out the puppies. And a whole lot of nothing happened on Friday. And I went to work that night, nervous as heck, because I thought she was going to give birth. And then she ended up just not giving birth at all. I got home, I was exhausted. I stayed up with her very late into the night, and she still didn't give birth. So I decided to go to sleep. And lo and behold, at 6 a.m., my boyfriend wakes me up, and he's like, she's about to give birth. And I was like, oh my goodness. And so like I get up, I run downstairs, I'm like in my pajamas, I'm like groggy as hell. And this is at 6 a.m. and so she gives birth, and she starts whelping her puppies, and she does a really, really good job. She is eating the placenta, she's breaking the umbilical cord, she's making sure the puppy eats. She's doing a very, very, very good job. And she pushes out 5 puppies in an hour and a half. And I'm like, wow, she's a pro. She's really good at this. She's doing really well. She's awesome. So after she pushes out these 5 puppies, my boyfriend goes to take a nap because he was up a little longer than I was. And I told him that I could wake him up if anything was going to happen. So she looks like she's going to push out another puppy. So I'm just waiting with her. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And an hour and a half passes, and she still hasn't popped out that puppy. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is really weird. I got a little bit worried. So I started Google searching, which is like the worst thing to do when you're in like a crisis, because Google makes everything seem like it's gonna be the worst thing in the world, the end of the world, all things bad. So anyway, against my conscience, I ended up looking on Google to see like what is going on. And just to give you guys the gist, she was having an issue. I don't know why I didn't just figure that out on my own, but again, I felt like I was a little bit unprepared for this entirely, because I just wasn't expecting this pregnancy at all. But anyway, so I found out that she was struggling. Maybe the puppy was stuck in her birth canal, or in other words, her vagina, and she couldn't push it out. And I found out that you can try to like stick your finger in there and help her try to pull it out, and if you can't, you got to get medical attention. So I woke up my boyfriend, and he tried pulling her out. Like, we tried everything we could to pull out that puppy, and it wasn't coming out. And this is what I had to call I called my vet, and I said, what's going on? She's been trying to push out a puppy. It's been 2 hours. I'm freaking scared. I'm nervous for her, because she's my dog and I love her, and I don't want anything to happen to her, or for her to like die or anything like that, like drastic. And they told me that I had to take her in for an emergency. And I'm like, okay, I'll bring her right now. And they're like, oh,
you actually can't, because we have another emergency in right now, and we won't be able to help her.
I'm like, are you friggin' serious? Like, the only vet that I have that's like 5 minutes away from me, that's like perfect, you are booked right now with another emergency, seriously? So they give me a number for another doctor and I call them, and these people wanted to charge me almost $3,000 or $5,000 to do a C-section on my dog. And I was like, oh my goodness, like when you think about it, that's a lot of money that you can't just spend, you know, anywhere. And I know it's my dog and I really had to take care of her, but I had to like call like 4 other places to find somewhere that charged me a good amount. So I found somewhere that had a pretty decent price on C-section. Just getting to the vet was freaking crazy. My boyfriend and I are like trying to figure out, because we have 5 puppies. We have 5 puppies and we're trying to get Maya in the car with the 5 puppies to lay down because she's still giving birth. I'm not trying to like have her like get hurt, and we both have like small cars and we don't have like space for her to lie down. So she's on my seat, she's bleeding all over my seat. The puppies are like trying to drink, they're all whining, she's going crazy, and we're speeding to the vet. We get there, they try to pull the puppy out, they're not able to, and they have to take her right in for a C-section. So I'm nervous, and the C-section and the whole procedure takes about an hour and a half, and she comes out and I go and I see her, and she is just groggy and she's whining and she doesn't know what's going on because she's on pain medication, and she's just like how you would be if you came off of anesthesia. And it definitely was like a little bit heartbreaking just seeing her like that. And one of the puppies ended up not making it. So I mean, it was a little bit expected. It was in there trying to get out for more than 2 hours for sure. So it was expected, and we ended up having 10 puppies from there. So I have my car at the vet, everything's okay, we take them home and everything's great. The first night I actually had to go to work, so my work is taking care of the puppies and trying to feed them from the bottle or in syringes, and trying to give Maya a break because she has stitches in her tummy, and we can't overwhelm her in the beginning because we don't want the stitches to come off. So we're like trying to feed them. I get home that night, it's like 2 a.m. I stay up to feed them, I go to sleep, I wake up at 5, and basically your schedule is like feeding the puppies every hour or making sure they at least eat every hour. And since Maya could breastfeed, but it wasn't safe for her at the moment, we had to try to help feed them as well. So we just bought puppy milk formula, and we mix it up with water, and we put it in a baby bottle, like a little puppy bottle or like a syringe, and they fed from there, which they were all doing really, really good. And then we ended up having one puppy who had like a weird noise when she breathed. It sounded like she was having like a hard time breathing. And of course, again, we looked it up online because the vets are just so expensive here in Florida. And we just found out that she might have a little bit of fluid left inside of her, so we got a little baby syringe to like clear her out. But she was having just a hard time swallowing milk, and she wasn't eating, and she was just having so much trouble breathing. And we were like, okay, we finally broke down and we took her to the vet after 2 days. And we took her to the vet, and they told us that she had pneumonia and lots of fluid in her lungs, and she was really congested and she wasn't eating. And they took her away from me, and they put her under oxygen. I don't know what they did with her. They put her under oxygen. They gave her some sugar to like give her some energy, and I think they tried feeding her and giving her some medicine. And they wanted to charge me like $500 a day to keep her there to help feed her and to help her live. And I decided to not go through with it because it was just too much money, and they told me that the chances were still slim that she was going to survive. So we took her home right after the vet. We fed her, we gave her medicine, we did everything they told us to do, and probably about 10 minutes later, that puppy passed away. And it was very upsetting, and it was just so sad, like, because I really did try taking care of that puppy. My boyfriend and I we were just very trying to be in control of that situation. And she ended up passing away anyway, and we just looked back and we were like, man, I wish we tried feeding her like from the beginning and tried taking care of her from the beginning. And just being unprepared for these puppies was definitely not something that I want for other people. So if you're somebody who has a pregnant dog and is not really sure what to do, definitely Google, definitely do your research, have a vet on hold, know the signs if your dog's in trouble, if your puppies aren't safe. Just make sure that you're going in there blindly or overconfident, because we definitely were going like, okay, because my dog's already had puppies, I'm her second owner, and we were just going in there thinking that, yeah, she was gonna have a totally fine birth, and we just weren't expecting all this to happen. I'm glad that the rest of my puppies are okay now. We have 9, and Maya is also okay. She had to get a C-section, and she was also she also got spayed. So there's that. I will definitely be posting like a time lapse for how the puppies are growing up, and they're so cute. They're really all so sweet already, and they're like 4 days old. But that's all I have for you. I think I'm glad you guys stopped by to watch this video. If you guys have any questions about puppy birth or dog birth or anything around that area, definitely let me know in the comments, and I will hopefully see you guys next week